Steve, what's this time of year like for you as a coach? Just trade deadline approaching. You had a big trade happen a couple of days ago. How do you talk with your guys about just kind of the possibilities? What's that like for you this time of year?
Sometimes, yeah. If I know guys' names are out there, sometimes I'll chat with them, and it's always hard, no matter what you do. I lived it as a player. You're in one place, and you might have kids in school. You start reading your name, you start thinking about how much your life might be upended. It's difficult for sure, but it's part of it, and so yeah, you try to help your guys through it.
Coach Kerr, Jonathan Kuminga, he hasn't played since mid-December. Is there any intentions to get him out on the floor anytime soon, or this is just pretty much the routine?
Yeah, it's a rotation thing. We're in a place right now where we feel pretty good about our starting lineup. I think we've started the same group, other than the other night when we were missing 3 guys. But we're probably 10 games into a starting lineup and a regular rotation, and he's just been out of that rotation, and it can change. It can always change, but right now things haven't gone his way.
Hi, Steve, back here. You have such a rich knowledge of the history of the game and what it takes to win, and I just wonder, when you look at where the Kings were a couple of years ago in that playoff series with you, and even just in general in the history of the league, like the delicate balance between winning and losing. Just what are your thoughts on that and what it takes, and how fickle or delicate that balance can be?
I mean, it's hard. It's really hard to win in this league, and I think the Warriors are a great example of that. When I was playing, the Warriors were, at the bottom of the league often. They went 40 years between championships. I think there's an element of luck. Getting Steph Curry changed everything for the Warriors, and then there's an element of things that you can control. I think ownership, stable ownership, alignment between, coach, GM, best player, all those things factor in. And I think over the years, you look at the history of the league and you can see patterns of that, and where there's, some of each, right? Some good luck, some good organizational decisions and management and that sort of thing. So probably the same in every sport.
We know you like this current rotation, the starting lineup, this rotation behind it. How does it compare to what you envisioned heading into the season? And how does Jonathan's role compare to what you expected heading into the season?
Well, the starting lineup was tricky coming into the season because I liked the way we finished last year, obviously with Draymond at the 5, but that was a 30-game run. It was just for the stretch run. We were able to start really small, and Draymond played most of his minutes at the 5, and we did great. 23-8, I think. I didn't want to play Draymond at the 5 for 82 games. So coming into the season, I don't think I was sure exactly how I wanted to start. I liked both Moses and BP in the starting lineup last year, and obviously if I was going to start big, which we've committed to with Quentin, we could only pick one of those. So we picked Moses for the on-ball defense, and BP's coming off the bench, obviously, and now we've got some health, good fortune with Melt and Horford, both available and stabilizing our bench. So, I'm not exactly sure what I expected, but you just roll with what you believe and what you think, and you try to help your team through the bumps in the road.
How's the way JK season played out so far compared to what you envisioned?
Well, I'm disappointed for him that things didn't continue to go the way they did the first couple of weeks. At the same time, it was going to be tricky to start JK, Jimmy, Draymond, at the 2, 3, and 4. I mean, I think, anybody can see that's a tough combination just based on in a 5-man combination based on shooting, and sometimes Steph can just offset every spacing obstacle in your way. He's that good, but in the modern NBA, I think it's going to be tough to do that, and I think we recognize that. We gave that lineup, several weeks, and eventually, I think the weaknesses of the lineup were exposed, and that's why we went in a different direction.
Hi, Steve. With the attention on your mom's feelings about your behavior the other day, Nick asked Draymond about his own mother, and Draymond said she has been trying to schedule a heart-to-heart with him, but he does not want any part of that. So he wants a few more games of really good behavior before he talks to her. I mean, is this a good way for him to stay on track if he's fearing his own mom?
Talking to his mom?
Yeah.
I mean, to each his own. My mom looks at our schedule. She has one of those pocket schedules, and when I call her, sometimes she'll ask, how I'm doing. And so one year, a couple of years ago, I was in Washington. We were playing the Wizards, and she saw Washington on the schedule, and she called me. She said, "How's Seattle?" And that describes my mom. She doesn't follow the NBA, so I'm golden. I don't ever have to worry about my mom calling to ask about Kaminga or the substitution patterns or strategy. My mom never asked me any of that. I'm guessing Draymond's mom does. So, he's got a different dynamic than I do.
Yeah. But whatever keeps him on track, right?
To each his own.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Steve, the Timberwolves held a moment of silence for Renee Nicole Good the other night. I wondered if you had a comment on the situation there.
Well, I'm glad that the Timberwolves, recognized, her life and the tragic nature of her death, and it's shameful, really, that in our country we can have law enforcement officers who commit murder and seemingly get away with it. It's shameful that the government can come out and lie about what happened when there's video and witnesses who have all come out and disputed what the government is saying. So very demoralizing, devastating to lose anyone's life, especially in that matter. So it's terribly sad for her family and for her and for that city, and I'm glad the Timberwolves came out and expressed that sadness.
Steve, changing the topic here. This Sacramento team has obviously been struggling a bit. They've lost 6 in a row, but when you look at them, what concerns do you have about the matchup? What can make them dangerous tonight?
Well, the pros that they have, Westbrook, DeRozan, Levine. I've been on the other end of barrages from those guys over the years. I think Russell is one of the smartest players that I've coached against over the years. Just, he has a good feel for our team. We've played against him for so long. The off-ball actions, he's really smart in the passing lanes. I think we've played him many times where he's just taken over a game with his defense and then converting that defense into offense. And so all three of those guys are really capable. And we saw it in Sacramento last time we were there 6 weeks ago, whatever it was. So there's no let-ups. It doesn't matter who you play or what the other team's record is in this league. We know that. And so we've got to be sharp tonight.
And speaking of that, looking at their record, one of their 8 wins is against you guys. So, is there anything you watched from the last game to try to get ready for this one?
No. We were missing a lot of people, and it was a long time ago. And so that game doesn't really enter into tonight's game. But our scouting report is more based on, their last couple of weeks, how they've been playing recently, how we've been playing, and that sort of thing.
Steve, have you any idea when you might project more minutes for Melt? Because I know you said that at some point you'll bump him up a little bit more, but right now he's in the mid-20s. Is that what he's going to be for the time being?
I haven't talked to Rick about it because we just bumped him up to 24 like a week ago, and we're going to take this thing slowly. So it's not exactly anytime soon, but it is on the horizon.
Steve, you haven't played Al Horford any back-to-backs, and with this current homestand, most of the games you have a day in between a game. What does that do for a player like Al, who is trying to find his rhythm? How does that, I guess, benefit him?
Yeah, this could be a great stretch for us and for Al, based on building that continuity, that momentum, offensive rhythm. I thought the other night was really kind of the first time we've seen our team as we envisioned it, before the season started. And Melt and Al are obviously a huge part of that. So I'm excited about this homestand and our, opportunity to build some continuity and momentum. I have something funny to read to you guys if you will listen to me briefly. I'm in a fantasy football league with 12 guys. We finished our season last week, and the website updated all of the rankings. I finished 12th in coaching ranking in my fantasy football league. And so the website said Coach Kerr had plenty of decisions to regret after his lineup choices left him as the worst game day coach in the league. So there's that. So this is a time for me to take a long look in the mirror. I'm going to have to reassess everything.